What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Real Talks with Roman. Welcome to the podcast. This is part 2 of 2, and previously, last week, you heard me talk with former MEBW superstar Chris Storm. Now we got his point of view on how he was, quote-unquote, fired and how he was removed from the MEBW roster. And now today, I'm going to continue with that story, but with the opposite point of view. We have former CEO Cody Powers and current CEO Tommy Gunn. Guys, what's up?
Hey, man.
Nothing much, just chilling.
All right, guys. So I got you on here because I heard the way you guys were talking on your podcast about how Chris Storm's firing was handled, and I was really intrigued because this topic hasn't really been delved into, and I think it's time to do that now that the fans have been left wondering for months upon months, and now nobody's got anything better to do but sit at home and ask questions and ponder deep thoughts. So why don't we jump into this?
Let us.
So I want you guys to tell me when did signs start of Austin? For everybody who doesn't know, Austin equals Storm. When did he start to show signs of losing interest or not wanting to wrestle?
Okay, are you talking about like in general? Like, I think there was arguments and disagreements and frustrations stemming all the way back to like mid 2018, probably. Like right around Backyard Mania 2.
Really?
Yeah, it was a long and difficult relationship.
Well, yeah, when I got there, I recall the first night when I first got there, we got McDonald's, we came back to Zach's place, we were in the basement, and we were talking about the match tomorrow, and he was like, I remember him joking around, he was like, yeah, this match will happen if I don't quit by tomorrow morning, and I just found that kind of odd, like, that he would joke around like the night before a big match, like, yeah, if I'm still here in a couple months, ha ha ha, if I don't quit or something, he joked around about that. So I was wondering if this is where it began, or you already answered it, but like that's what got my gears turning, if that makes any sense.
To sort of get you to understand like where he was at.
Yeah, like I kind of had I was kind of worried because he was talking about like quitting and leaving, or if he was like, if I'm gonna even be here in a couple months, like right before I was about to put him over the next day. So I didn't know if you guys, cause obviously you didn't have that train of thought because you put him over me.
Right. Oh, yeah, dude. If we thought he was leaving, bro, you were winning that title.
Oh, yeah. If we would have known.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hindsight was 2020. If you were still here, we would have just had you pick up the title.
I just want to
That
say
would have been a great reality.
On behalf of the entire MEBW, everybody, Maximus Roman is about the best backup plan you could possibly have.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
anytime we have some kind of issue, it's like, I'm like, oh, let's see what Max is doing.
Yeah, like we need people for the Rumble. Dude, somebody call him. Like, is Max gonna be free? Like, I swear to God, we've had, because of this whole coronavirus thing, over the last 2 months, I can't tell you how many times we've been like, all right, we're buying Max's flight. He's coming out. Like, it's bad. It's always our backup plan.
You know I'm down.
Yeah, I know you're down. Yeah, that's why I suggest it. That's why CEO suggests it. I guess Storm and I grew apart over the second half of 2018. And not that, like, you got to be my buddy. You know, that's a common misconception amongst some members of our roster. You got to kind of be Tommy Gunn's buddy in order to get anything. That's not true.
That is unequivocally false.
Yeah, right. But what you do need to have is two things: talent, all around talent, and respect. And like, Stormy's always been a natural. Like he's one of those kids. Here's my analogy for Chris Storm. He's one of those kids, like, when you're in elementary school, where he's just straight up, he's flat out smarter than everybody else, right? He's just a step ahead of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But by the time you get to like your junior year, he's settled into the middle of the pack. Because whether it's effort or starts to get confusing or anything like that. You know, that kid, that really smart kid from elementary school, just doesn't have the same passion or drive that they did when they were 8. You know what I mean? And I think
Okay,
that
so is it complacency, Tommy?
maybe I don't know. It's hard to really understand. I think it was a little bit of frustration with upper management. It's backyard wrestling, but upper management. And I think a little bit of it was also like not wanting to be there. And I think sometimes people get burned out. Hell, I get burned out, and my job is to run the show. So like it can be difficult. But I just think that, you know, we experienced so much back and forth and so many stretches where we were fine and then we weren't fine, and then this pisses me off. I think the real line of delineation started like late into the 2018 season, and then once we started back up in 2019, I think that's really when the wheels start turning.
Yeah.
So I'm talking like November 2018, you kind of are like, okay, what the hell? And then once you come back in February and March and April, then it starts to kind of hit the fan.
Yeah, there was a taping. It was our first taping back. It was the taping that we showed off the world title. I believe I have to like double check my dates later, but I believe it was like February 17th or something like that, of 2019. And there was a huge argument downstairs. Tommy was off in a separate area, or he was left the taping already. And Tommy, you remember? Do you kind of remember that argument? It was the one over the phone.
This is the most disheartened I've ever been running this company. Straight up. It was like all I remember, I don't really remember what happened at the taping. I just remember leaving really pissed off. I know what happened. Hunter Jones left.
Yeah, that was a rough taping. I remember that first one back is like legendarily bad within the locker room.
Yeah, like really bad. So Hunter Jones decides to. We talked about this on the same podcast you're referencing.
Tommy.
Did he drop out?
I don't know. Did he mute?
I don't know.
I was in the wrong app, damn it. My bad. Okay.
All right, ready? I'm just gonna cut that out.
So where did it cut me? Where should I start from?
You said the podcast that I was referencing. So just say that again.
Okay. The podcast I was referencing, what's it called? MEBW Archives. So in the first episode, Austin, we talked about Austin a lot. And then before that, we spent a good amount of time on Hunter Jones. And the thing about Hunter Jones, just to bring everyone up to speed, is that he wins the Mayhem tournament. And then Mayhem means you go to House of Hardcore, you fight the world champion. Hunter Jones is scheduled to win the world title. It's already taped, edited, posted. It's on private. 6 days before the show, he texts the group chat and quits MEBW.
Ooh, on the group chat.
Yeah, that was bad.
So then we had an emergency meeting. It was over Discord on I remember it was Monday night. It was like 9:00. I know I had to work the next day. CEO probably had to work the next day. Zach was coming home from work, and Delta was coming home even later from work. So CEO is the first person to tell me.
Yep.
He brings me up to speed. It's not anger, it's shock. It's just depression. Everyone was just like hurt. And so we had an emergency meeting We decided what needed to be done. That Saturday, they went and they taped an emergency match. It was re-edited and reposted, and we covered up the Hunter Jones thing. Until now, obviously. And then after that, we had more emergency meetings the week after discussing what to do from here. Where do we go? Like, there's no, what do we do?
Those meetings
And
were, damn.
Yeah.
We had a lot of different ideas flowing, and not a lot of them stuck.
Let me tell you, there was probably 5 different proposals for how to get from where we were to Backyard Mania 3. I think Adams had a plan. I'm sure Zach had one. The Kyles were probably in on one together. I had my own. I probably had a couple.
I remember there was a couple that me and Kyle had, because we just kind of bat stuff back and forth. And then like we got Adam and Zach talking, and then it was mostly Adam.
Well, the one thing that Zach absolutely contributed that, like, to this day, it's almost like I don't know if Max is gonna really understand this. It's almost like when Qui-Gon Jinn decides to take Anakin from Tatooine. It's like, if he did that, would everything crazy have happened? You know?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Zach decided, and I love him. I love you, Zach. I'm not shitting on you, I promise. He decided to bring Austin to one of the meetings.
Oh, he did bring Austin to a meeting. Oh, I remember that.
Here's the problem with that. Nothing. Except for Austin, one of Austin's like habits, like this happened when I would discuss booking with him. It's like he didn't want to piss me off. It's almost like he felt like if he disagreed with me, I'd shit on him. And that wasn't the truth. That wasn't like, I mean, if he really felt so strongly about it, I would talk to the guys and then maybe change it. But there are times when I know I got this stuff nailed on the head, you know? There are times when it's a home run and the whole meeting is like, this is a home run. And then if you're upset about that, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? But like at that meeting, I made it very clear, because I had just retired at House of Hardcore, which is something I want to be very clear about. I had just retired. And I said that I was willing to volunteer myself to do what Dakota would have done. And then, but I said, I'm not going to, come out of retirement for no reason. Like, I'm going to do it because it makes them, it's like logically made the most sense. Because I had no place on the card other than eventually it would have been me versus Max at Mania, which I, completely forgot about until they brought it up.
Me versus you? That would be sick.
Yeah, you know why? Because we're a couple of fucking sick dudes, bro. Anyway.
Sick dudes, bro.
Yeah.
Tommy, it could still happen, dude. It could still
God
happen.
Damn. Do you think I can fucking work right now?
Balls, get your balls and carry them.
Carry your
Wait,
balls.
Are you calling me a sagging old man? Is that what that was?
Tommy, I'm calling you a pussy. And
okay, all right. Don't call me out on your podcast, brah.
Kayfabe.
Don't kayfabe me, brah. All right. Anyways,
don't work yourself into a shoot, brother.
Back to Chris Storm. Yeah, don't work yourself into a shoot. That is already a
so
shoot.
Max, I want you to kind of see this from my angle, because I had 2 proposals. One of them changed the Mania card and didn't involve me. And I said, this might not be as strong of a Mania, but it's the best option we have. The other one was everything stays exactly the same. Just plug and place me in for Dakota. That's it. But the guys.
Okay, so Storm didn't like this?
I'll get to that in a second. The Kyles, I believe it was the Kyles, had a plan where I would come back and win the All-American.
Yes. I wish I had the notes for it. I don't remember. I have a various amount of notebooks, so I don't know which one it's in. But we had a mapped out plan for you winning All-American, and then I want to say we had Kyle winning World. It was either Kyle or Austin.
It was Austin. It had to be Austin.
I don't know because we had there was a little back and forth. We were trying to figure out if Kyle should win it, and you were right.
Okay, yeah. Why? Why was
Because like his first title reign that he has right now would like if his first title reign would have been the Hunter Jones replacement, I don't think it would have been as good as his current one.
No, because it was random and he wasn't ready.
Yeah, and his current one's fire.
And I was against Austin winning the world title at that point on account of I had set up already before this was happening. I had set up Austin to have this big match post Mania, Thunder versus Storm. I had this planned for months. And I said, I'm not giving that up because the pop is unbelievable. I don't want to give that up. It's like, there's a reason that stuff happens, you know? There's a reason that I set things up a certain way. And that show, that Thunder versus Storm special where Austin wins the world title, is on purpose. Like, it's supposed to happen like that. It's if you just throw the title on him in a clear emergency replacement scenario and that's his first win, it's not as special.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, it just it was just the way it went down, just the way it happened. And
So what happened when Zach brought Austin?
well,
to this
Austin
meeting? Did he
just
seemed out
called
of
me
place?
out
He
and
was
said that
angry?
I was being selfish for not wanting to win All American.
Okay, so some heat
Yeah,
boiled
and
over
Yes.
during this.
I
And
said
that's what
this
started it.
plan is like all over the place, and if I'm gonna come out of retirement, it's my choice, and if I'm gonna do something, it's gonna fucking rock. It's not just gonna be random. You know what I mean? Like that's like
Right.
if
So
okay, so I know this is probably like a shitty comparison, but that's like if Undertaker came out of retirement to win the Intercontinental title. Like what? Like he's gonna have a big match, or like maybe back in the day it would have been like Taker's gonna run with the world title and have some big shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the Undertaker, okay? Don't get me wrong, but like I was in a position where I was more than happy to be off screen. I was like I had a lot of my own shit going on, like in my personal life, and I was just happy writing and doing what I was doing, and like I didn't need to wrestle another match. But I volunteered myself because I felt that it would be smooth and seamless. And that I guess that's kind of it.
so tell me how Austin didn't like the fact that you became world champion in place of Hunter Jones?
Didn't like, I think, is an understatement. What do you
Definitely
think,
an
CEO?
understatement.
Okay, so now
But
I'm
he
following,
played
now I'm
face
following.
after this
Okay.
long, tense meeting. We all voted. He played.
Right.
He like
He was
tried
fake.
to like play it like he was cool with it. We called everyone, explaining them what was happening, and then he was pissed, and then went and told some of the other roster members, who I'm not gonna name, that he was pissed, and starts this little fucking like coup. And those people, since that day,
Right.
those certain people that he told that he wasn't happy about that, I can't. I've had such a hard time working with, because they think I'm just out to get them or something. And they've
Right.
even if
Okay,
Austin
so
has changed and become a much better role model, which I'll absolutely attest to that. It doesn't change that what happened and that how it affected those people.
okay, so Austin started this almost coup against you and the management, right? Okay, so I'm following. So this brings us down the road, but you still decided to put the title on him, even though he caused such a problem
Yeah.
backstage. Okay, so that was okay. That's understandable because of how he appeared to
I
the
tried to
fans.
squash it with him, and I think I did for a minute or two, but I told him, like, I don't have a problem with you. I'm trying to set you up for something awesome. you know. So
Right. Okay.
here's why I'm doing this, and I hope you can understand that. And you're gonna have a kick-ass program with Adams, and then you're gonna win the world title, which you deserve. And we actually decided shortly after that when he won that title at Thunder versus Storm, he would hold it till the next Mania.
Right. Right. I heard all about that. Well, we're getting there. So, CEO, tell me, how did you feel about Austin winning the world title after starting this coup? Like, where did you lie
Um,
during this whole thing?
I was a little more on the Storm side. I'm not gonna lie, but like with a lot of reflection, I realized that wasn't necessarily the greatest path. Um, but at the time, yeah, I would say I was a little more in the Storm camp. But like I said, it was coming from a just like, oh, but the fans would want it, and Austin's cool, like let's give him the title, yay, and not like, oh yeah, this makes sense.
Right. Okay. So Austin gets the title, and now he probably, what I'm thinking, because I did talk to Austin, and he seemed level-headed about the whole thing. So what I'm thinking is maybe he got a little bit too full of himself, that he kind of stood up against Tommy, but then won the world title after the whole coup, and then he was scheduled to have this long reign. Do you think he got a little bit cocky or complacent?
I don't know if I'd say complacent, but there was definitely that aura of just like there were often complaints of just I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I want to go and watch
Oh
Naruto.
my
I don't want to
god,
be here.
that was my whole spring, dude.
That
And
was
like, I'm not even like
Right.
I
This is what
don't
I'm trying to. This
hold
is what I'm getting
like
into.
I want to be very clear. I don't hold any grudge against Austin. I care
Yeah.
about him. He's a good kid, and he's my friend, and that's the truth. But there was a time where I just I just wanted to punch him in the face. Uh,
Right. So tell me. But both of you. But so he would say that I didn't want to be here as
both.
he was
both.
champion or
Oh
leading
my
up to the
god.
championship.
He's just
Right.
like,
Okay.
dude, like,
Okay. So
like he would leave. Okay, so we start our tapings around 10 o'clock. Well, nowadays, not everyone gets there till 11.
Yeah. I
CEO,
wonder.
I wonder who that is.
I wonder who that is. I wonder.
It's Adam. Okay, anyway. But no, but like we're there till like 3 or 4 every Sunday. We just like we're hanging out. I mean, we're taping and we're kind of hanging out at the same time. And it's like I don't care if we're like dicking around a little bit as long as we're getting the stuff done. You know what I mean? Because we got a bunch of stuff to do. That's why we don't tape every week. But it would just be like, I mean, Austin would be like, get me out of here at noon. I'd have to cut half the shit that was written for him and rewrite it and replace it because he was just like, get me out of here.
okay. So on the last week's episode, the part one of this whole thing, when I talked to Austin, he told me that he didn't want to go because he had a commitment to running and he had a commitment to cross country. Now, I know that that's a fall sport, so why do you think he was complaining in the spring?
He did run track.
Did he run track?
I thought so.
Okay, so yeah, I think he did. So what he was telling me is he runs Monday through Saturday, and Sunday is his only day off, and Sunday's the day you guys taped. So he felt overwhelmed. Now that's his side of the story.
That's understandable, but at the same time,
response. Say you feel overwhelmed and take a step back.
Yeah.
At the beginning of MVW, Jeremy, our first Hall of Famer, JT, knew his football season was coming up, and before 2-a-days, he filmed himself dropping the world title, and he said, when I come back, I'll be ready. Be good to go. When same thing happened the year after, we wrote him off when it was football season, and he wrestled Zach, and I mean he hasn't returned since, and that's kind of on both of us. But he left. And he left. He wrestled a match that was taped before he needed to be gone, and then he was gone. He let me know full in advance.
Right.
What days what
Okay.
day does your 2-day practices start? Because like I understand where Austin's coming from. Because I played football in high school, and we would have starting the first full week of August, we would have 3 weeks of practice, Monday through Saturday, 7 to 1, double sessions. We'd practice,
Right.
and then halfway through we'd stop and have breakfast. And if you were getting your ass kicked that day, you couldn't eat because you were going to throw up. And then you had to go practice for another 3 hours. And your feet hurt and you're sore and you feel like dog shit. I know how that feels. And I wouldn't have wanted to wrestle during that. But it was never
So-
like there was
Exactly. So
during track and
thing,
the first
right.
part of cross, well, the first year of cross, the year before, there was never a I want to really focus on this and take a break and do it. Never.
So yeah, you thought that Austin could handle it and have it on his plate. Meanwhile, he's having his poker face on, and really he's really getting beat up, and he feels like shit. And but
It
his way of
wasn't,
showing
Tommy,
that
I
wasn't
need time
really,
off.
mature, and he would just say that. Right, and he actually, once you listen to it back, Tommy, he said on there that he should have handled it more maturely, and I had a whole talk saying that Austin, you should have explained to Tommy. I think it was just this is one of the most like terrible things to happen because he did love wrestling, but he loved it so much that it ended his run and ended his career because he wanted to keep going, but he was just burning himself
Right.
out, and that was putting him in
Yeah,
a
And
bad
that's a
place
shame.
mentally.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, anytime
so-
there's any kind of heat,
That's
it's usually just because people don't know how to voice like their actual concerns properly and don't act on them and just react immaturely. That's any time that happens.
Yep. I could totally, yeah, I saw that when I was there in Michigan. And that brings us to where we're going with this next is the day that I woke up and we were scheduled to do Adam versus Storm, and I was supposed to come out at the ending, and it was supposed to be this huge moment. But then Austin texts, who did he text? He texted Adam that he didn't want the ride, and he said that he wasn't going to get him and that he wasn't going to taping because of
Yeah.
his neck.
Yep.
CEO, why don't you
Okay, so
like
so he said,
why don't you
so-
answer Max's questions for this part, because I was working a lot during this, right?
Yeah, you weren't there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes. CEO was there, and I was there. So I think this is a real interesting podcast because I was there, but just for 2 days, 3 days, or something like that. But then what happened after? I'm an outsider looking in, so it's kind of an interesting situation. Well, my perspective of it. So I want to hear from you. So I remember being told that Austin wasn't coming, and everybody was like pissed and
Right.
shocked,
Yeah,
mostly shocked, right?
like I believe we talked about it in the archive, but like when there's a big difference with showing up, uh, not showing up to a crossover match and not showing up to an actual normal MEBW taping. When he didn't show up to the crossover, it's like, okay, our entire build for this match is ruined. There is no like smooth way we can do this, and now we
And
have
the
to work
amount
around
of
it completely.
disrespect.
That as well. Like as we've discussed on various podcasts, wrestling is such a respect-based industry, and if you can't get that respect and give that respect, then there's no point in being here.
I felt disrespected because he didn't show up and he knew how much it meant that I came out there to work this thing, and my whole thing about showing up in MEBW was ruined. Like I was pretty mad, and I thought he didn't like me or something. I thought that's where the whole thing with me and him having heat came from. And of course we squashed that, and I realized that he's cool with me and I'm cool with him. But this him not showing up on that day really caused a big issue. Now, Tommy, when you heard this, did this further your thought of okay, he's really being disrespectful, and it brought you back to the mindset of months prior to the coup?
The coup.
Let me put it to
You
you
know what I'm
like
getting at?
this. That puts you on the chopping block. You
Yes.
better have a damn good reason.
Right.
I mean, if people don't realize or understand, and I've said this before, and I'm going to continue to say it as long as I'm in this industry. I have the most respect for Maximus Roman, more than any person outside of my own company that I could possibly have. Like, there are a lot of good wrestlers out there, a lot of good backyard wrestlers. None of them are the wrestler or the man that Maximus Roman is. His amount of respect for the business and for other people within it, his respect for the process and understanding how things work. I mean, he like straight up the best guy, okay? And I'm not just saying that because I'm on his show. I've said it on my show too, and I'll say it fucking behind the scenes every time. But the fact of the matter is,
Thank you.
If you disrespect someone like that, I mean, that is just, in my book, egregious. The reason that I remember distinctively being in meetings after this happened and shouting, not that I was mad at the guys in the meeting, shouting at them, because I swear to God, I've yelled these words before. Maximus bleeping Roman came out here and worked his ass off nonstop for 2 days and then shook my hand. He shook my hand and said, "Thank you for the opportunity," and you couldn't even show up to the second day. Yep. And I know there's a whole story behind it, but I've never been more upset about something in backyard wrestling. I don't think ever.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that was the most upset I've ever seen you.
It was a long couple weeks.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I left, and then you guys were scheduled for a taping. But before the taping, it was.
I know the
James'
exact date for this.
birthday
This
party that
was
you guys showed up
August
to.
24th of 2019.
Right. Here we go. This is what I wanted to get into because this is so everybody who doesn't know, I went to Michigan for 4 days,
Yeah, that
3
sounds about right.
nights, if I do recall. And when I left, there was a 5-day in between period where I could rest at home. And then I jumped on another plane and I went to Orlando, Florida, Disney World with my family. And now August 24th, I think, is the day that I showed up in Disney or something like this, because this is when stuff went down with you guys. And then
it would have been the 24th.
Do you remember the date of the call or no? Okay. So I'm in Disney World at this point. Now, CEO, you can take over what happened and when you called me, and then I'll tell them where I was and what I was thinking. This is really what I want people to hear, because it sucks that it's got to be this late into the podcast. Hopefully people are listening. Shout out if you are. Comment down below.
So as we discussed about the birthday party, we were all there having a good time. And then at the end of it, Austin is like, I'm not showing up to the next taping. And we're like, you have to, because we need to film Carnage. It goes up next weekend. Like, we're not going to drop it on our editor.
Literally had to be there or else we couldn't post the show.
Yep, he had to be there. And he no-showed, and then we had the big meeting. It was the booking crew plus Joe Erebus, because like I said, he was spending the night.
Wait, hold on. This was before he no-showed.
Yeah,
he says he's going to no-show. He's very clear that he's going to no-show, and then you leave the party. And then Delta calls me.
Yeah, and then that's when we decided, like, not happening. He's gone. Because we knew he was going to no-show. We just, like, it was very obvious he was going to no-show. And then everyone converged at my house, and we had our meetings and discussions. And during our talks, once we came to the decision that we were going to fire Austin, we said, well, shit, we have this entire Storm Roman match that we don't know what we're going to do with. And we had a little bit of back and forth discussing what we would do with it. And finally, I decided, well, the fans were asking for it on the 3,000 subscriber special. So, like, let's just put it there. Like it's an easy solution. Because it was
Right, but
during
when
the
did
meeting.
you call me? During the meeting? After the... Okay, so you said let's talk to Max and see what he wants. Because you talked to me about this 3K special before, like we collectively came up with that. I recall this. Like I was on the call. Okay, so
I think that was a
everybody was
me
like,
thing.
let's call Max. Like
you wanted to call
like,
Max. I was saying the 3,000 subscriber special.
Okay, so Tommy told you to call me because I vividly remember this. I am all dressed up, ready to go to like this fancy dinner meeting, like some real extravagant Disney thing with my little sister and my family. And I remember it pops up, Cody Powers is typing, and I'm like, huh. I mean, I was just in Michigan. Hey, maybe they got some good news or something. But in the back of my mind, I had a bad feeling because why would he be texting me right after I
And we
left on a
also
good
know
note?
you're in Disney World. I should
And then I
mention
was like,
that.
oh,
We
the
know
storm
you're
thing,
on
the last day
vacation.
that I filmed. Right. So I worked my ass off. Then I went on vacation, and then I'm like, oh no. I remember the last day of taping. Storm didn't show up. This can't be good. CEO, you say, can we talk to you? It's urgent. And I'm like, shit. And I'm like, I'm about to go into this dinner, and then we go up to the dinner, and I'm like, I can't really take this call right now. And then they're like, okay, it's gonna be a bit of a wait. So I guess thanks to the Disney reservation place that they were booked up, that we had to wait like 40 minutes. So I'm like, I'll take the call while we're waiting to sit down for dinner. So keep in mind, everybody, I want everybody to know this. I was in Disney World when I got the call, and I was told Chris Storm was fired from MEBW.
The land where dreams come true.
I was in Disney World when I got this call, and I remember. So, I remember. I answer the phone, and I'm like, "So what's up?" Tells me Chris Storm is fired, and we can't use the Storm versus Roman match in the way we wanted to as the main event of No Escape, correct? Yep, that's where it was supposed to be. And I remember feeling so many emotions at once. I was like happy he was in Disney World, about to have a nice banging dinner. Then I'm like, worried. Then I get the call. Then he tells me that he's fired, and I'm angry at Austin. I'm angry at him as the person that he would do this, because I spent the money to go out there. I worked my ass off for 24 hours to put on a good run in Michigan, mainly because I wanted the fans to get this match that they've been clamoring for years, if not. And then I was like, I remember sitting up against a wall and then like just falling down it slowly. And then my sister looks at me and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, remember I went to Michigan? Well, yeah, that big match can't be used now. And then we stayed on the call, right? For like 30, 40 minutes talking about what we can do.
No, I remember the chain of events now. Yeah, we talked a bit, and then we came to the decision about that.
Yeah, we were talking on the phone, and then we're like, what can we do with this match? Like, we don't want to release it, because at first we were thinking about not releasing it at all, because he beat me, and he had the championship. So I was like, this is going to make me look bad, that he just beats me and walks away. Mm-hmm. Like, that makes me look bad. And there's no build. So then we came up with the idea that you guys are about to hit 3K. And I was like, okay, 3K special. And then I asked permission to post it on EBW, because I was very proud of that match, as I should be. And I wound up posting it. You guys wound up posting it. I congratulate you guys on 3K. The match was posted to less than an underwhelming amount of response due to the lack of build and everything. So I remember being in Disney World, like, pissed off that Austin no-showed and got fired.
Well, at least you were in Disney World and not in a basement like us.
Facts. I remember that night just fucking, we ordered pizza at like 11:30, and I ordered too much pizza.
You can never order too much, because then you just have more for later.
Yes. That's like the Tommy Gunn first commandment.
So at this point, you guys are all in agreement that you're going to all collectively go on a video.
Oh, you're talking about the next day? Oh my God.
Oh, that was good.
That was my idea.
When the whole roster got
So
on the
next
camera
day,
and fired his ass.
mind you, I'm at CEO's house till like 12:30.
which is unusual. Tommy Gunn is very rarely awake, unless that is Minecraft for that length of time.
Listen, I gotta be doing something important if I'm gonna stay up super late. It's been a little different because of quarantine, but like around that time, like 10 o'clock's my cutoff. All right, like I'm out of here. So I was there all night, and then I got up at 6 o'clock the next morning and drove over to like the Dearborn area. And Max, so you understand, it's probably about 25 minutes away from my house, like west of Detroit, to play a round of golf with my coworkers. And
Yep.
I had this plan for a while, so I was already going to be late to the taping. So my instructions were go to the taping, run it like normal, just skip the Austin match, do everything you can. I'll be there around 2 o'clock. Just go until you can't do anything else, and I'll be there. So I show up probably around 2:30. I probably did a couple shots on the golf course. I should also mention that. I think that's a good, nice touch. And I get there and I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I get everybody into their places behind the camera, and I tell them I'm going to make an announcement. I didn't tell them what I was doing.
Yep. Nobody knew.
I said, I'm going to make an announcement. When I fold my arms, everybody, led by Zach, Adam, and the Kyles, come out here and stand in front of the camera and do what I do. And I went into this whole tangent, and I got a lot off my chest. And you could say it was a shoot. Austin was not happy that this happened, by the way. And I don't blame
Not
him.
at all.
I don't blame him. But
I don't either.
and I fired him right there in front of everybody. And then the camera cuts, and I say to everybody,
So, do
you heard
guys-
what I said. This is a decision that none of you should be surprised by. He no-showed a taping where he needed to be here for the world title. He's already made enough mistakes, stuff like that. I said, if anybody has any objections, make them now. And no one raised their hand. But I'm sure that secretly there were.
I know that there were.
No. There was the only way we could do it.
So do you
How
guys
do we
regret doing
explain
it
6
publicly?
days before a title match between Storm Thunder and Erebus
Right.
that Storm's not there?
Yeah, we
It's
kind of had to.
impossible. Hunter Jones was one thing
Right.
because the fans liked him, but he wasn't like a superstar, Chris Storm is one of the most popular backyard wrestlers of all time.
Right. So I think this it really brings it full circle to I really want you guys to listen to the first part of what Austin had to say, because he seems completely changed from when I first met him. Like, I thought that podcast was going to be awkward and kind of weird between me and him. But no, it was actually really cool, just like when we first met, and he seemed sorry, and he understood why he got fired and how in the manner that he was fired. So I think he really understands where you guys are coming from, and now I think the fans should understand where you guys were coming from mentally, because we started almost 50 minutes ago talking about how Austin was causing trouble in early 2018 and leading up to this eventual firing. So really,
I just want to
full
say,
circle. Thank you
like,
guys
to
for
add on to
doing
what you
this.
just said,
Anything else you want to add in?
I've spoken to him within the last couple weeks, just not even about this podcast, just reaching out. And I agree with you. I mean, it was a really difficult time for everybody. And I think that Austin has become a better person and a bigger man. And I'm proud of him for being able to understand where we're coming from. And hopefully he understands that we know where he was at too. And at this point, there aren't really hard feelings between us, and hopefully moving forward, we can continue to be good friends. And I think that's all we can really ask for.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. Like, I don't have any hard feelings toward Austin. It got bad at the end, but like, time goes on and people change, and I've talked with him as well, and he's been fine with me, and yeah, I have no issues with him now.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Right. So the
Like,
separation
I think
and the
the
healing
relationship is a lot better than it used. Oh, definitely a lot better than it used to be.
Certainly. Absolutely.
I'm very happy we did this.
I hope that fans
Well, I'm
get
happy we
something
did
out
this.
of
You guys
this.
happy we did this?
And I hope that they don't start, like, I hope this doesn't, like, tear people into, like, factions and this becomes a whole huge issue. I just want people to, like, know what happened and understand it from every side and be able to comprehend it and move on.
Well, I appreciate you guys letting me cover this because I mean, at the same time, I'm not a full-time
There have been
MBW guy,
times
but,
where
like,
we
you know,
have
if I lived
wanted to
there,
move
I'd
you
be
here,
all in
and
to
it's not really
MBW.
possible,
I'm a
but
third-
hey, you should come to college in Michigan. That's what you should do.
Yeah, go to college.
Yeah. We got a bunch of colleges around here. They're
That
pretty
would be-
good.
Yeah.
That would be something, wouldn't it? He's talking me into college now in Michigan. Well, what I was getting at was I'm like a third party looking in, so thank you for letting me cover your
Of course.
guys' like backstage
Oh,
stuff.
of course.
I can tell that you guys have a lot of trust in me with this. So much respect for that. You guys said it's like a respect thing, and I know Austin respects you guys, and I know I cleared up things with him, and he respects me, and I know Austin respects the fans, and
Absolutely.
I think we're all on the same
Yep.
page now, and I think that this was a good thing to do. So once again, thank you to the fans for listening. Shout out if you watched this far. Comment down below and let me know if you watched this far. This has been Ranting with Roman. This has been the Fall of the Storm.